All right, welcome to another episode of Wing Nights. I don't know, I forgot what episode it is. Tate's not with us, he usually keeps track of that stuff, but we got our other crew here. Josh, I think that this is important. You set up everything for this one, so I think you should do all the intro for us tonight.
Most definitely. We got a very special guest. He has his own bodybuilding commentary YouTube channel with over 41,000 subscribers. Former pro wrestler. We got Marx Max Muscle joining us tonight.
Wow.
Was that the intro you were hoping for, or did that meet expectations?
Beautiful, my man.
Thank you very much.
And I have to warn everybody, the face does not match the voice.
Mark, so my first introduction to you was just from my YouTube recommended December 2021. It was the Arnold Amateur Classic commentary video, and I just fell in love with your content right away. I showed a few of my friends right after I watched that, and they all loved it too. I asked you in the DMs what's your status with the Rooster. Can you so a little backstory? There's a guy that was competing in the Arnold Amateur Classic that had a physique that looked like a rooster, and Mark kind of went in on him a little bit. And what's your relationship with that guy?
Well, I'll pick up from there. That was actually a few years ago, I believe, by this point. I think 2019 even, maybe. Anyway. Yeah, it was me being I was mean, I never thought once that any pro bodybuilders, anybody that actually competes would watch these videos. Here I am, 2023. I talked to a few top pros. I talked to an Olympia champion, for goodness sakes. One of the women's divisions. But anyway, yeah, I mean, so now I have to still critique. I have to tell the truth, but I have to be more respectful. So having said that, the Rooster, Rick, the Rooster Kraus, he contacted me, and he was a nice guy, first and foremost. And I made a rebuttal video, and it's the difference between going into the gym, getting the good pump, go to the front of here, get the good angle. Oh no, not there. Here, take this one, and you're gonna look good in every shot. Rick was out there posing on the stage in his little tiny posing trunks. So the truth of the matter is, I would not have been any better than him. But yeah, recently he blocked me.
Oh,
yeah.
And you did tell me that too. Yeah, that's.
I talked to the guy. He was a nice enough guy, right?
Yeah, and I had the idea of bringing him on here too for our podcast episode and having a little intervention, but I never did find his Instagram. But that would have been some good content for sure.
Yeah. Are you a big Simpsons guy? Because you mentioned before we got started and everything, like you got all the Simpsons gear like struck out. So I'm assuming you are, but I don't want to speak for you, I guess.
I've watched an episode or two of The Simpsons. Excellent. Mr. Burns. Hey, don't have a cow, man. Can't do Bart. Because a woman does Bart. I don't have the woman's voice. Well, I guess I can do Marge. That sounds more like Patty.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love The Simpsons. I don't watch it anymore, mind you. But it's one of those things, if somebody's watching it at their house, and yeah, I've seen this one a million times. No, but I really don't watch it anymore.
I need that Jay Cutler impersonation.
Dance, monkey, dance.
maybe later in the show. But
I'll do the J when it calls for it.
Jade,
I'm sure we'll say the word big. My arm needs to be a little bit more big.
Yeah.
What is
So
this slapstick? Come on. What are you doing?
so I got a question for you about pro wrestling. How did you first get into it, and how long was your pro wrestling career?
It all began 1987. No, realistically, man, I became just a huge fan of wrestling when I was a kid. And I always knew it wasn't a contest, so to speak. I don't want to touch on anybody's feelings and say it's fake. You know what I mean? We all know what it is. We all know what it is. And even as a little knee high to a grasshopper, did I say 1987? Do you guys even know what 1987 is?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
No.
But yeah. I was always told that this was set up. And when I was a kid, the idea of that, well, that excited me even more. Well, yeah, we can set up these matches and they'll be great. So we actually started backyard wrestling. And I do have a secondary channel. I don't know if you guys know. It's
I came across it.
Marx with a K. Marx Max Muscle. And I actually show some of my old backyard wrestling matches in that. It's kind of scary. These kids in the middle of the woods wrestling.
Did you ever get like called in for wrestling in the woods?
Sorry, what?
Did you ever get called in for wrestling in the woods?
Called in?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, you get in trouble? Like, did anyone just like call law enforcement on you for just kids starting fights in the woods?
No. We had a ring set up.
So it's all legal.
I don't know if it was legal. flying through the air, so fancy free through like hoods of cars and things of that nature. No, and the ring was really big. No, it was my friend's backyard.
So
and he's a pretty cool guy. So
yeah, sorry. You've been in the world of pro wrestling for a while, and I was thinking, what are your thoughts on Logan Paul going over to pro wrestling and not really expressing much interest in it beforehand in his career?
honestly, man, I don't know much or anything about Logan Paul, to be honest with you. I used to wrestle, right? And I stopped wrestling, and when that happened, I honestly stopped watching it.
Gotcha.
I still watch I watch the old stuff frequently. Like, I'm still with, I like wrestling, but it's just when you don't watch it for years. Do you ever get the feeling like you were in a time machine? You came out and it's 2023. That's the exact same thing it is with me when I turn on wrestling. I know nobody.
Yeah,
Logan, I assume he's like a YouTube guy. He's the YouTube guy, blonde hair.
Yeah, he's the YouTube guy. His brother's a boxer now, and
okay. I did fall off a turnip truck, but the turnip truck slowed down.
Right. So yeah, I kind of forgot you're 41. That's my bad.
Too.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Come on.
42? Oh man.
No,
yeah, every year after like 38, every year after 38 hurts. Especially if you were a pro wrestler.
That's fair.
I got something else for you. So just watching all your videos, you've grown quite the following. Do you edit all your videos and do all the thumbnails, and if so, how much work does that take to produce all that?
I do everything. Me and Mr. Burns here. Oh, over there. And it is, the answer is a lot. Every, every minute of every hour of every day has to be. People think they're going to be a YouTuber and not work. It's like, no, actually, I work a lot now.
Mhm.
I prefer the work,
Yeah.
mind you. I love it. I could watch bodybuilding all day long, and if you didn't, you would you would drive yourself up the wall.
Did you compete on stage?
No.
Did you ever
No.
think about it?
Oh, well, I mean, I wrestled up until like 2000 and say 15 maybe. And I was in a little long in the tooth, which means older, to get a start bodybuilding. And I don't know if you watch my videos, but I'm pretty realistic on who can and who can't make a career out of it. If I was in my early 20s, I have such a dedication to the sport that maybe I'd have stood a chance against these genetic freaks. But even then, it's a stretch. But at my age, couple of things wrong with me. I'm not a complainer, but there's a couple of things that are, and definitely no. But yeah,
Yes.
when I was younger, I always, when I was younger, I thought, oh, I'm going to be a WWF champion, parlay that into a bodybuilding career, maybe win the Olympia once or twice, depending on my mood.
All right. So I'm kind of the off the bench guy, kind of come sub in on this. But I do watch your videos quite a bit. You really have just like the bodybuilding like commentator voice, which is pretty cool. And I think that's what kind of got me into your videos is like you just have that perfect voice for bodybuilding content. But and I'm not going to ask you to do any impressions because apparently that's the go-to.
Dance,
But,
monkey. Dance.
but it's pretty funny. But I did
No,
see.
I honestly, I don't mind doing the impression.
So I did see your video, the recent competition, and I think Josh should have entered that. He probably would have beat that guy, and then he would get to be compared to you in those insane triceps.
I don't want to get cooked. I don't want to get cooked.
What I was just gonna ask.
You should have entered, Josh. You should have entered.
You should have
Thought about it. Next year.
There's always
Let me get lean.
Yeah, you gotta be lean. Yeah,
I'm
there
like
was a few
15%.
guys there. Yeah, 15's a good for building muscle. Even one or two more, perfect for building muscle.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
competing, you just got to be so shredded. It's
right.
Too much more than that, then it can really eat away at your muscle when you do try to get rid of it fast.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, that's a whole other world.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Jade.
So
Jade.
you're in pretty good shape now for being 42, I would say. What does your like training look like? Are you like I'm in the gym every day, or you pretty regular with that, or you 3 or 4 times a week kind of guy now?
I have to take days off.
Yeah.
I want to train every day. And I have different goals right now. Obviously, like I said, the age, things of that nature, I have to limit my reps, or not limit my reps, go higher in reps. Limit my small 2, 3, even 1 rep moves. Like we all have egos in the gym. Everybody says, "Oh no, I got no ego. I go in there to lift." Are you kidding me? If you could grab 700 pounds and squat it 5 times, are you not going to do that? Of course you are, with jeans on. But yeah, you gotta say when, and it is hard. It is hard. But I'm out there 4 times, 5 times a week.
Oh yeah.
And I got my own gym. I got my own gym.
Oh, that's the goal. Just a home gym and get to
It's
do
a
it on
barn.
your own accord, basically.
It's a barn. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but it's a barn.
That's all
How
you
much
need.
stuff do you have in there?
How many, pardon?
How much stuff? Like what equipment do you have in there? Are you just lifting cows, or what are you lifting?
Well, you can't show a screen. You can't bring my Instagram screen up, can you?
Probably not. Well, not from this. I can figure
No.
something out. Let me work
Yeah.
on that. Somebody else asked a
Yeah.
question. Let's see what I can figure out here.
But Mark, you build stuff in your gym. I think I saw
Exactly.
you.
You've seen it. Yeah.
Right. You've you have like a seated row machine that
We're
you
we're lifting more than cows out there.
yeah in
Like
the mountains of
like
Canada.
like Milo of Croton. You guys know who Milo of Croton is?
Man, I was born in 2000. I don't know.
No, this guy was
The-
born like back at the turn of the way before 0 BC. He lifted a baby cow every day until the cow grew into a bull, and he gained strength every day because the cow got bigger.
Oh, like in holes.
That's where they get that story from Milo of Croton.
Did they really? Is that where they got that from?
Yes,
Oh.
he was the world's strongest man back in like 700 AD.
And then it was Stanley
Milo,
Yelnats.
pardon.
And then it was Stanley Yelnats after that.
There was lots of world's strongest men.
So I have another question for you. I know Canada is a big country, and I don't want to like sound like it's just like one big state, but have you ever encountered Greg Doucette in person, and how good of an IFBB pro was he?
Never seen Greg in person, but Greg was more than decent. So, Jade, which impression did you want?
I wanted you to do something you've never done before, or that I don't think you've done after watching all your video, or as many as I can see. But I know you're gonna know this.
Do you actually have a request?
Yeah, I think if
Oh.
Tate clipped this later on, it might go off. But I think your voice is perfect for the EA Sports. It's in the game impression. You just have
Like
that perfect voice.
That it's in the game that used to play at the start of like video games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the game. Lukewarm. I'd have to hear it and practice it.
Yeah.
It's in the game. It's in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That is.
Hit it with the EA Sport. I think it's the full thing. It's the EA Sports. It's in the game.
EA Sport. It's in the game.
That was
like
good.
That was pretty
I
good.
put it on my
EA Sport. It's in the game.
You're getting every time you get better and better.
Just like a fine wine.
There you go.
Like a fine wine.
So I have a question just about your ability to just commentate on all of these lifters and all the different shows and stuff that you like to put on your channel and whatnot. I studied exercise science in college, so I always like looked at like the physiology of everything. And so sometimes you look at, like you mentioned, these genetic freaks, and you're like, how did you get this like muscle to pop off, or how did you do this? And I love your commentary about kind of the opposite of that, especially when you talk about guys. You're like, they didn't even look like they got out there and did anything. They just kind of oiled up and walked out. When you are looking at actual competitors, what stands out the most to you just about someone who like stands out from the rest of the field? Because generically, like in a professional, to us, like normal people, they all kind of look the same, right? So what stands out the most to you when you see like a professional field of those bodybuilders?
Honestly, a lineup will make a physique. And that, to me, that's the most exciting part about bodybuilding. Like, say, Nick is really off at an event. And then there's a guy that's not as good, just on, and all of a sudden he's in this lineup. And normally you'd have Nick in the lead, but if this other guy's in the lead, then it changes the whole lineup. So the first thing you notice is, I guess, the one guy that looks the best out of this group. And it's never the same. It's never usually the same. It's hard to nail it every time.
So really, it's just an eye test. As soon as someone walks out, it just kind of he's kind of the trendsetter, and you just judge everyone else from that guy.
Yeah, it's different with me though, because I know all of their poses off by heart. So when I see this guy in shape, I know exactly what all of the other poses are going to look like. So I can basically say, oh, this guy is on. Or when they're really big, I get disappointed because I know they're going to be soft. Just soft, like a bar of soap.
Bars of soap, that's soft.
They're smooth.
Oh,
I don't know if bars of soap.
no, listen. You lather it up, and then the foam is really soft. That's the soft.
I was just thinking, like, I just took a bar of soap, like yesterday, and I was like, this isn't that soft.
Liquid hand pump soap.
There you go. I guess, okay, so to follow that up, like on the opposite side, when you're doing the commentary on the semi-pros, the people who just work out at a Planet Fitness and they think that they can walk up and do a show, right? What's the thing that you're looking forward to the most when you're trying to make fun of these people?
Well, like I said, I don't do that anymore. Because if you watch the Marx Max Invitational, that was a landmine. Like if I had made that years ago, I've made fun of myself in my most recent video, and I can make fun of myself just fine. I can take it, right?
Right.
And I went off. Like one of my legs is a lot smaller than the other now.
I saw that, yeah.
Due to age, deterioration, little piece of beef jerky.
Yeah,
if the wind picked up, my legs would go like that. My upper body would stay.
Who won the Marx Max Muscle Invitational? What was the guy's
winner of the 2023 Marx Max Muscle Invitational, Austin Rivera.
He was looking good. He had a really nice physique.
I wish he had better footage, nicer backdrop. Got to critique even the winner. But yeah, he has massive legs. And the reason why I do wish he had better lighting is because I did see a lot of cuts in the abs and in the quads that really would have came out even more.
Yeah, I think that footage, it makes so much of a difference for these like Instagram influencers and stuff. When you have that quality, that lighting down, the background, like these physiques go from, and honestly a filter too. These physiques go from, 3 to 10 real fast.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have to have them hit all the poses in a row with no pause. I had one guy, he kept sending me 3-minute videos of just him hitting the front double over and over and over again. And I had to message him back and say, dude, man, just one video. And then he messaged me back, no, you can do it. You can do it. You can find the best pose out of every one. You can do it. I know you can do it. And you're not getting it, man. You gotta. But yeah, if you're hitting all the shots right there, your full body, you're not going to look as good as, get that angle in that good. You go into to get the pipes. Come on.
Talk about competing in the Invitational. Jade, you should have sent in a submission.
Yeah, if I was a little leaner, maybe one of these days.
Well, not to quote a Jade tweet, but I do recall you putting a post out a couple of years ago of saying the reason I lost all my weight is because I finally put the spoon down. So does Jade need to put the spoon down one more time?
Jade needs to put the spoon down one more time, just for the next year's competition.
What's the spoon mean? Because you're trying to lose weight?
No, he's doing a lot of drugs, and he was. No.
No, yeah, just eat. It's all
Depends on what's on your spoon.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's true. Just
find what you like.
Yeah,
I eat chicken and rice. I could eat chicken and rice every day.
Yeah, the diet aspect, that's for me at least, that's, that makes or breaks my physique almost to the daily. You eat one bad meal and you start feeling bad about yourself the next day or whatever, or you don't train
Toxins,
good.
man. It's toxins in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to preach to you guys about dieting, but I got a couple of brothers, same genetics as I do. They do not eat what I eat, and they do not look like I look. So food is key to being healthy and staying fit, when you're older.
Mm.
When you're younger, you want to push it if you want to be a professional athlete. Of course.
Mark, how many times a week? So I would say I'm mostly training like powerlifting with some like bodybuilding, like extra auxiliary lifts sprinkled in there. And I'm trying to get around 10% body fat, and I'm at 15 right now. How many days a week would you recommend me doing cardio?
Cardio, when you're dieting that lean, you don't want to expel too much energy, if that makes sense, but you
Mhm.
can do it evenly. Say a little light cardio wouldn't hurt you to do little light cardio throughout the day, because you're burning a calorie. But if you're not eating the protein, you're not getting the amino, your muscles will shrink.
Yeah.
And it's a
And
tricky world. It's a tricky world.
it's tough because I hit my protein goal every single day. And like
Drink lots of
sometimes
water.
my wife wants to go get snow cones and then like go get ice cream or something. That'll mess me up a little bit, but
That's you're not gonna, like, when I was younger, you can get abs when you're younger, but
right.
you really can see. I will eat one little piece of rice and I will see it on my belly the next day. Comes in the form of a little piece of curdle, like cheese curdle, like cellulite.
I
I'm
have
just
heard that falling in love is the worst thing you can have if you're a bodybuilder. So, because all you want to do is eat with your significant other, and they just make you eat all the foods that you shouldn't be eating.
And she's a
Me,
good
me,
cook too, man. It's
me
tough
and my
to
wife, do not eat the same meals hardly ever. She eats what she eats. I eat what I eat.
yeah.
She wouldn't eat what I eat anyway.
At first when you guys started dating and started began your marriage, were there times where you were eating the same stuff she was?
Oh, absolutely. I've been with my significant other for 13 years now. Something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, 13 years. So yeah, and I was not the healthiest person back then when I wrestled. I was in decent shape, and I actually ate okay, but I partaked in a lot of alcoholic beverages, which is bad for so many reasons, if not that you will eat anything when you're loaded drunk. And the next day, to heal yourself, you're going to need to eat certain things. So it's just it was no good. It was no good for dieting.
So if I'm trying to eat in a calorie deficit, and like get a little bit leaner, do you think I can still go eat that ice cream, go eat those snow cones every once in a while, or no?
No, I do not.
Even if I'm eating in a
No,
deficit
no.
and meeting my protein?
You, no, you'll be even leaner.
All right. I'm gonna enter next year. You have my word.
No, you got to stay away from the snow cone, because that's going to put a little thing in your mind that you're going to get another snow cone later, and then you will want it.
I don't even like them that much. It's just
Me neither.
like
Why would you say snow cone? Why not ice cream or something good, man?
Because we're known for our snow cones here in Kearney.
there's a snow cone stand down the street from our place, so it's tough. It really is.
The
But
convenience of a $5 snow cone.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask you too, just about the bodybuilding aspect. I mean, you've talked about the just being an athlete and some of that other aspect of just training and everything else. One thing that I've always wondered is, in sports, we always talk about how would this athlete look if they committed to doing this sport instead. Is there a sport that you see or have like heard of or anything along those lines that you could see like an athlete from this sport transitioning and becoming like a bodybuilder, and not necessarily like specific athletes unless one comes to mind, like more generically, like is there someone that already has a physique or already has like a lifestyle that you could see translating well?
There are few sports. I think pro wrestling obviously would be the number one. There's never been a sport with more bodybuilding. I don't know about now, but you look at the roster in the 1980s, and there were some absolute bodybuilding champions there, for sure. Now, UFC at one time, I would have said that, but I don't think that the perfect fighter is built like a bodybuilder. So you're going to see less and less of that. Whereas at one time you did see some pretty jacked up dudes. But other than that, you don't know baseball. I don't know.
Could swimming be one? Because like I think of like those photos of like Michael Phelps in his prime, and it's not every swimmer like you said, but I don't know, some of those you looked at him and you're like, man, if he could put mass on and wasn't burning 10,000 calories a day, I thought that maybe.
It's funny you say swimming, because they were the first people to look like a bodybuilder were swimmers. Right. And then when the 70s hit, the steroids hit. Well, they were there before, but you know what I'm saying. They really juiced up their muscles. They would call a leaner bodybuilder a swimmer's physique, which is great to have a swimmer's physique, but not if you're a bodybuilder. But they are very ripped because they're constantly moving all their muscles, constantly doing cardio, but they're not going to have great big legs. You don't need them. They look big compared to a normal person. They're bigger than an aspiring bodybuilder like myself. It's like I'm sitting here rubbing two sticks together. He's walking around with a Zippo, for goodness sakes. Throw me a match. But yeah, I would say those gymnasts, those guys that used to do the pummel horse, those guys could be bodybuilders.
That makes sense. Their arms are huge. At least in that category, they hit a back double by, and they might win that thing just from that shot.
Like you said, gymnastics, like male cheerleaders, those dudes are like the strongest people on a football field. Every time, like, have you ever seen those guys like carrying those gigantic flags like through football stadiums? Those guys are ripped.
Well, if you're holding up a few women. Couple over here. Andre the Giant. I honestly don't watch football, so I don't see any cheerleaders or anything.
I kind of figured you weren't a football guy. It was just I shouldn't have assumed.
My brothers love football, baseball, hockey, and I'm like, what else do you got? Nothing, Mark. Well, fine. Me and my friends are going to start our own wrestling federation. And we did.
You ever get into hockey in Canada that might seem a little insensitive and very stereotypical?
Oh, no, I can play hockey.
No.
I'm more of a goaltender.
Oh, okay.
Would you, you mentioned being a wrestler, and then obviously with what you do now, would you say you stayed in Canada for the free healthcare with all the steroids that you have seen in your lifetime?
Hey, I'll go to Walmart right now and I'll pick out the people that are on steroids and the people that are not on steroids, and the guys that are juiced up are probably healthier and probably gonna, the people that aren't on steroids, they're gonna seize up at any minute. Potato chips. Potato chips are worse than steroids. You telling me potato chips are better than steroids?
That was a classic divert the answer there. That's fine.
Plead the fifth.
He's been doing this for a minute.
You said you're in Canada though. Can you plead the fifth?
I don't go to the hospital. I don't go to the doctors. I broke my ankle one time. My wife made me go to the hospital.
You broke your ankle?
It was just a sprain. She thought it was broken. I said, it's just a sprain. It was swelled up. I said, they're only going to tell me to stay off your ankle. And other than that, when I was born, I think I was born in a hospital. That's about it.
Have you witnessed or have you had like a bad training accident before when it comes to just the work and workouts and stuff that you do? Because it feels like every couple of weeks you see like a new highlight reel, like TikTok video of someone snapping a tendon and having a training incident, something like that, where a pec gets blown out or so, along those lines.
Years and years ago, I would say, oh gosh darn it, 15 or so years ago, I tore my pec doing 1 rep bench press. We were all trying to see how much we could do. And whatever it was, barely over 200 pounds, which is, oh yeah, that's worth it. And I hardly felt anything. But then right after, my pec swelled all up. I look like Hulk Hogan. You guys know who Hulk Hogan is?
Of course,
What you gonna do, brother? Yeah, no, my one pec right from the side. I never had such a big pec. But then it's the swelling went down, and I do have a little tear there, but it's not much. But other than that, knock on wood, that and the sprained ankle, I think I don't think I've ever been hurt in wrestling or lifting weights.
How long was that recovery with your torn pec?
Oh, whatever. I stopped doing bench press. I was probably lifting weights within a few weeks. Wasn't even really much. I wouldn't even have known it happened if my pec didn't swell up.
I have a training question for you. So recently I switched over to dumbbell bench. I've done barbell bench the past however many years I've been lifting, and I've just heard a lot of people say that switching over to dumbbell bench will in turn pack on more size in the chest, and it'll also improve your barbell bench. What are your thoughts on that?
People love saying that word, pack on. They hear that word, pack on, and you instantly think, I'm going to grab these. They all work, dumbbell flies. I hear people dissing dumbbell flies, really going into it. I stopped doing dumbbell flies for like a whole year one time. My chest never looked so bad. So I directly, I went right back to doing dumbbell flies, and I could see my chest improved a little bit. But they all have their place. Bench press, I think it stabilizes it. It's good for like your bottom pecs, I believe, but dumbbells are great. You get deeper, and some people will tell you don't need to get that deep. Well, that was a whole phase for a little while. People said, no, way above your chest, and then don't go up. And it's like, well, chests, they don't look as good as they used to. Arnold says he goes way down. So it's like, well, maybe I'll just listen to myself. So yeah, I like them all. Now I will do a whole dedicated day to bench press, where I will do the Serge Nubret method. I don't know if you know who Serge Nubret is. Unbelievable big packs. We're talking hooters. Bigger than Arnold's probably. And he did 20 reps, 20 sets. That's it.
He's like the Tom Platz of chest.
He was the Tom Platz of chest. Absolutely, he was. He was on Pumping Iron. Have you guys never seen Pumping
yeah.
Iron?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
He was the guy that beat Lou. He placed second in the Open. So that's Serge Nabret.
I don't know how much you stay like active and involved on like all the millions of people that are on Instagram. Oh, sorry about that. On Instagram and on TikTok, just for physique and lifting videos and telling people like, oh, if you're like what you just talked about, like, oh, if your elbows are doing this, like that doesn't do you any good. You should be doing this. And it's always something small where someone's talking about don't touch the dumbbells at the top, all that stuff. How much do you just like let that fly over your head, or do you ever take anything from those? Do you ever see something that interests you?
Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
I do not have TikTok. I don't look at TikTok videos. I don't.
Which, if I may interject, I feel like I felt bad DMing you. Like, why don't you have TikTok? You could just like clip up some of your content and put it on there. But I feel like your TikTok would, like, if you had a TikTok account, it would do really well. So like,
Josh is TikTok famous. That's why he's saying that.
I'm not. No. I just hit 10,000 2 days ago. So.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, I just think your content would go over really well on the app. So that's why I brought it up.
Oh no, it's definitely a fair, like a lot of people have asked me that.
Yeah. I just didn't want to come across as like just like telling you what like how to do your job, because you've been like doing it for a while.
You're talking to a guy that's, I did pretty good on YouTube, and I live in a very small town. So I'm the guy going around telling people, oh, you got to make a YouTube channel. You got to make a YouTube channel. I'm sure people are sick of hearing it. And it's like, well, he's telling me to make a TikTok. He's probably right.
My thought was, you just clip up old content and then it drives more traction to the YouTube. That was just my thought. And I think honestly that would it would work for sure. But who inspired you to start a YouTube channel?
Well, there's your classics, your Louis Marcos, Neck Strength and Powers, Tominator, maybe a little bit less known, Tominator, but there was a bunch. And gosh darn it, I really can't think of their names, but they were like top 50s and top 10s and all those. Like I really watched those YouTube channels before I even realized what YouTube really was. I didn't take a second to think, why are these people making videos out of the goodness of their own hearts? Isn't that a lot of time and effort? And I was willing to do it. I was willing to continue on my channel, unmonetized. But I mean, if you're gonna do it for your job.
No,
Got to make that bank if you're gonna do it for your job. Yeah.
Seems greedy, but it is the way it is. Now I'll do things like the Marx Max Muscle Invitational. That was for you guys. Well, you guys should have. Jade, Josh, Austin, you won, didn't you?
Yeah, you said that earlier, and I was shocked because I don't remember.
You look a little smaller.
I was in Canada a couple years ago, so it makes sense why I would have been up there.
Well, I don't know how many actual Canadian competitors there were, but yeah, there was definitely no money to be made in that venture, because the winner did get a prize.
What was the prize?
We will be doing a podcast on EP09. A little shout out to him, EP09 bodybuilding channel. We're going to have Austin on that, and he will reveal how much he got. I
Nice.
would have liked to give you, I would have liked to have more, but like I said, like Jade said, you got to make your bank, right? You got to pay the bills. That's first and foremost, but it absolutely is much more than I will make off the videos. So it took me weeks to make the videos. And I'm not complaining whatsoever about that. I enjoyed every bit of it. But it is my way of giving back.
Do you
That's
feel
really cool.
do you feel the pressure like making YouTube videos all the time to meet a certain standard now that your audience has kind of met, like they've kept up with where you're at? Like, do you ever feel like, oh, I just want to throw something together and put it out there, do something different, but instead you feel like you have to keep kind of doing the same thing?
I think they're all like little snowflakes. They're all special and different because you're recording your own thoughts and feelings and you're never thinking the same way. Sometimes you're watching a certain show and you want to do, like, if I'll watch Steve Urkel, you guys know who Steve Urkel is?
Oh yeah.
I'll be watching that and I'll be, oh, hey, big guy. He, snort, snort, snort. If you're watching like Edward G. Robinson, you want to do an Edward G. Robinson voice. Like, I'd have to search for Edward G. Robinson videos that I did his voice because I only did them a few times. He was an actor in the 30s. Meow, he'd say, meow, some screw rattled on the cuppas, see? Meow, 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 meow.
So how much of your video, like your commentary, are you scripting all that out, or is that it's kind of just a reaction? That, hey, that's what I kind of assumed.
There would be no time. There
Hmm.
would be no time.
I
There would be
didn't
no time.
just watching your videos, I didn't think there was any way. I was like, there's no way this is scripted. This is just him doing an honest reaction.
No, I will write stuff down. Score sheet, the official score sheet from the Invitational, actually.
That's awesome. Damn, that's really cool.
Those guys will be pausing that. How did he beat me? How did Kaz beat me?
Looks like we lost.
Yeah.
We'll get him back here in a sec.
Where'd he
I
go?
was gonna
He probably froze up. It's that, Nebraskan Wi-Fi. What can we do?
ask you some bodybuilding related questions. I was just wondering here, because this is the physique I like.
Can you guys just hold that thought for just 1 second?
Yeah,
Yes.
no problem.
I apologize, man. There's just somebody at my house. I'll just
You got it.
2 minutes. I apologize. Hold that thought though, Jade.
Hey, no worries. I'm just throwing this back on then.
No, we're keeping him on. So we're back. That's the magic of our show. Jeez, Josh, look at those. You look like
15%.
The pecs, Austin, the pecs.
I know I have no pecs. It's because I do too much cardio. It's like what you were talking about earlier. I'm a runner. I do like the half marathons and everything. So I don't I lift pretty much every day, but I like to stay skinnier, so that's my thing.
All right, I'll go get back to my little question here. So I feel like we've seen a kind of a shift in the bodybuilding world from these I would say mass monster to the shape guys, the Samson Dowdas or the Andrew Jacks, even Crizzo. They're just these tall, massive dudes with a lot of shape compared to a guy like, Nick Walker, or even back in the day, like a Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman, where they're, well, Ronnie Coleman was kind of tall, but those other guys, they're 5'9", 5'10", maybe. And is the bodybuilding world shifting because of the popularity of guys like the Chris Bumsteads, who are just so super popular on social media? And so that's kind of pushing into the open division, where it's like, hey, we actually like these shape guys, these 6'2" or 6'1" guys that are just wide in the shoulders, tiny little waist, and then their legs bulge out. Is that what we're going to see more of?
Well, I will answer that with a question. Who was your top 4 at the Olympia?
My top 4?
No, who was the top 4 at the Olympia?
Hottie, Derek, which Derek is probably the best physique I've seen, who's a shorter guy, mass monster. Nick got 3rd, I believe.
Yep.
Oh, 4th.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Those are all guys. Tallest guy is Brandon. He's 5'8". So is there really a shift?
Yeah, it just seems like
They're all short guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. But a lot of people are kind of ignoring the fact that the top 3 were all short guys. The top 2 were 212 bodybuilders.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. It seems that way because Andrew Jack came out of nowhere. Samson Dawda is seemingly doing better now than he was. The Arnold always favored the aesthetic guy.
Yeah.
Remember last year, Brandon won. Everybody was like, oh, no, he didn't really win. Well, it's the Arnold. Nick Walker did win it one year, but look at his competition with Steve Kuklo and Ian, and they are not aesthetic. So it seems like the Arnold, the more aesthetic guy does win. But we'll see this year. We'll see. If you are right, like a lot of people think that they are seeming to shift, but like I said, and Hattie's not a mass monster. So you're right on that aspect. Hattie's not a mass monster. He's got the smallest waistline,
Just
tightest.
insane shape. Insane shape.
But are we going to see that 5'10" champion? Ronnie Coleman be the tallest champion in the last. Roden was probably shorter actually than Coleman.
Yeah, even like Big Rami, he's probably 5'9", 5'10".
He's probably 5'9", yeah.
Yeah, and I mean he's the definition of mass monster. I would, but I think the thing a lot of people want to know is like, does Nick have a chance against these guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If Nick's getting third, he beat Brandon Curry. He beat Big Ramy. People ignore that fact. Brandon Curry beat Big Ramy. No, they were all out of shape because they were back there for 2 hours. They were at the backstage and they were supposed to go on a couple hours before they did. So if that's going to favor any physique, it's going to be Hattie Shupin. And obviously it did.
Yeah. Where do you see Derek Lunsford in this next? Because I don't think he's competing in any shows until the Olympia.
No, and that is the best move because that's what he did last year, and it worked for him. So if it works for you, don't change it.
Yeah.
And the pressures didn't seem to get to him. I see Derek. If he doesn't win the Olympia, he's going to be out of the top 3.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. Predictions are just fun, guys. I see some of the professional guys. Oh, I don't know why these guys are making their predictions. Nobody's right. It's like, well, no, they're fun. We have to talk about bodybuilding.
As someone who's just like an outsider on it, it's just so interesting to just hear how you talk about it because it sounds just so similar to so many other sports or different. I mean, truthfully, like even like pageants, contests, like all this sort of stuff. Like
it is a pageant. It is
right.
a pageant.
Right.
Exactly.
They just don't have to answer questions about world hunger in the middle of it.
Hey, nobody's as hungry as that top lineup of them bodybuilders. I'm here to tell you, they are the richest hungry people in the world.
Do they dehydrate, or I guess, do they recommend that you dehydrate yourself before you go up and showcase yourself?
maybe a day, not even. But most guys are better off not doing that, to be honest. But I mean, when I do my little tiny posings, I just posted my little posing trunks. I don't drink water all that day because it shrinks my waistline. You put anything in there, I'll have a little bit of pre-workout. Well, more pre-workout and a little bit less water. But you don't want a whole bunch of stuff down in there because you gotta want to eat a little bit of carbs, right? And if you mix the water with your carbs, it's gonna your stomach's gonna get big. You can't pull vacuums. Now, if you're a great big horse, if you're a big stud, it probably wouldn't hurt you as bad. Like I've heard Ian Valliere saying that's what he used to try to not drink water. And then he drank water and he won the New York Pro.
Ian, he's a fellow Canadian. I think he just won the Toronto Pro.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, he's kind of the guy that got Chris Bumstead. Everybody just knows Chris Bumstead started in the whole bodybuilding shindig. And I think he was top 10 in Olympia.
He was top 10 he was 7th, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020. 2020, Ian placed 7th. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I'm sure.
One of our 11 loyal subscribers.
I don't know who placed 10th in 1985 now. I think it was Frank Richard.
What just bringing up that, what's your favorite era of bodybuilding? I mean, I know some people are like, well, that the golden era was, the Arnold, but then there's that like early 90s era where it was gosh, I blanked on his name.
Dorian
Yates, yeah. And then the early 2000s, obviously you got Jay and Ronnie, and then now, if you had to pick one era, what's your golden era instead of the golden era?
Well, Dorian was so peeled, but Jay Cutler was so big. I mean, I don't know why he was so big. I'm going to answer this, and it's going to frustrate you and upset you, just like Ronnie Coleman says when they asked him what's his best year. All of them. I like the 80s for so many reasons. It's like they were out there, first time that they were out there with the cameras rolling. 70s seems like a hidden, they're in a back room somewhere, pumping iron. I mean, you like that era, everybody likes that era, but who do you got? Franco Columbu are against Arnold for 3 or 4 years. And they kept Sergio down, I think, in my opinion, with politics. Sergio Oliva. So I kind of prefer the 80s more because you have your Danny Padillas, your Tom Platts, your, Frank Zane more in the 70s. But then the 90s, you got your Dorian Yates, you got your Sean Ray, Kevin Lavroni, Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman. I mean, and then honestly, 2000s, not my favorite. I think Ronnie was too dominant. You look under your top 3 at the Olympia, it's like the competition wasn't that great. Even like 2009, 2011, even out of the top 5, it's like these guys are not the best. So it's a much deeper lineup now. I like now. People are always down on now. I think now is pretty good. Crezo, jacked. Got a lot of guys out there. But honestly, if I had to pick, gun against the head, early 80s to the late 80s. I'll sit back and watch those old Olympias, and I just love them. Love them.
Do you think that's your answer because that's what you grew up with? or yeah,
Probably.
there's just something about Jay Cutler's quads that just, oh man, like that makes me want to go hit legs, man. I don't know. There, yeah,
I start off with some light leg extensions, nothing too fancy, just to get the attention. Then I'll go through my workout, and then maybe finish off with maybe a harder set of leg extensions. Really get that burn in there. So there's your answer. Do what he did. I think his genetics might have had something to do with it, though.
yeah.
He's got short legs, actually. He's got short legs.
How tall is Jay?
Jay, probably 5'9"
Oh,
ish. He's taller than Phil. And Phil's not any shorter than 5'8", I can't imagine. And Coleman is taller than Jay.
So I have one more question. I don't know how much time we are over our limit or whatever, but Mark, why isn't your shirt off with us?
It's just too flabby. My wife is home. She'll have too many questions.
Stop.
Yeah, we don't need your wife just peeking over the screen and seeing these three dudes you don't know.
From Nebraska, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wing Night Show exclusive, yeah.
A Wing Night Show exclusive.
Are you sure this is going up on Spotify?
It's going on YouTube for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
There it is.
I'm pale is why.
So I guess my last question is a very generic question for most of us outside of Canada is, what do you actually know about Nebraska? Did Josh tell you that we were from here or anything, or do you have any recollection of the Cornhusker State?
It is one of the few states that begins with New. New York, Nebraska.
No, not quite, but
You swing and you miss. You swing and you miss.
He hit me with that when I DM'd him, and then he was like, it was a joke. So I didn't know how to respond to that.
New Guinea.
yeah. Jade, do you have anything?
I'm good. I asked all my questions.
Well, thank you, Mark, for joining us. This has really been fun, and we really appreciate you helping out a smaller YouTube channel, and that really means a lot. But if any of you, what's that?
We'll try to double your subs.
Let's go. That would
16.
be amazing. If we can be at 22 subs after this podcast, that would be amazing. But if anybody watching this is not familiar with Mark, go sub to his channel. Mark, if you wake up with 11 more extra subscribers tomorrow, you'll know why. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have 41,627.
Yes. Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Awesome.
All right.
I still
Mark,
get excited about everyone.
Mark,
Thank
we
you very much. Chicken Wing Night. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Thanks, Mark. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Shout out to Denny.